All right, guys, welcome back to Southern Builds. Me and Ben right here in this 2006 Jeep Commander with a Hemi motor. This is a 2006. It was a misfire in cylinder 7, and so we are now taking the head gasket, replace it on this right side on cylinder 7. And I just want to shoot a video for you guys to see how we do it. And Ben's already disconnected the intake and some plugs and some wires.
Well, so the main thing here is they give you a nice little plug. Connects up to the harness, so when you disconnect this, we can get all this whole wire mess out of the way, I believe. At least not have it right in the way, because as you can see, we don't have a whole lot of space here.
Guys, always remember to disconnect your battery before you start the process, like Ben did. You disconnected the battery, as you can well see. By the way, guys, make sure you like and subscribe to this channel and make a comment. Anything you guys want to see or any questions you might have, I'll do my very best to answer them. So here we go. We're gonna tackle this beast.
All right, so I think mainly everything on here, 8 millimeters. So we'll have 8 millimeter bolts holding this plastic one, valve cover. And I believe we have 8 millimeter bolts holding on this intake.
Okay.
The only bad part about this intake is we can't get to take off this little EGR wire or hose, and it's obviously everything in here is really tight to get to, so we're using tiny tools. We're going to go at this painfully and slowly. And
we're not very tiny people, so our hands are big. It's in tight spots. We could use a smaller person right now, but we'll do our very best what me and Ben have as our resources. So let's get at it, man. Let's get this job going. Rock and roll. All right, guys. So here's some parts that we took off to get to the head. This is not a complicated story here. First of all, you got your intake, breather box over here. Here's the fuel intake over here, exhaust intake, whatever. Then over here, get your rocker arms, the bolts, and the valve cover, I believe, was a size 8. They come off of there, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 10 bolts to take the valve cover off. And then, of course, the coil packs. And this is the 7th cylinder side. Okay, so let me walk you through this a little bit, guys. Once you get down to this head, which is where you're going to go next for the head gasket, because number 7 cylinder, which I believe will be right. I believe number 7's right here, I believe. Oh, is it the very last one? Okay, it's the very last one. And you want to make sure you get your torque specs right on this. What are the torque specs, do you know?
It's a sequence, so you got to go through, you set it to 30, 70, and then the last is 100. I'll have to double check that when I go
okay.
do that. But it's a 3-series sequence.
All right, now remember, guys, this thing is, the bolts in the back are very tight back there, as you can very well see. Very, very tight. If you got big hands, good luck. All right, so I'm gonna let Ben take it from here.
Back to the tools you'll need for this job. 8 millimeter, 10 millimeter, 13 millimeter, 14, and 15 millimeter. So what was that? Five sockets.
Yep.
For some reason, deep wells have been key to every bit of this, but really only 5 sockets do you need. The 2 pieces that we don't have laying on the ground that will have to come off is the power steering pump is bolted directly to the head. You can see I have it disconnected here. This is bolted right there. So that means the belt's got to come off. This has got to be undone. There's 3 13 millimeter bolts.
Okay.
And then the exhaust manifold, we're taking the exhaust manifold off with the head. So we have just taken the collector off, which is 2 bolts. They're 15 millimeter. And they're obviously a pain to get to. But as it sits right now, the head is ready to be removed. Those 2 collector bolts have been removed. Power steering pump's obviously removed. They've got one gotcha bolt back here on the coolant line.
Okay.
So you don't necessarily see that one until you go to try to jerk this thing out of there and oh, it's stuck. So that one stupid bolt right there has to come out. and you're good to go. While you're doing this, you definitely want to check all your gaskets. Here's what I found. These plastic intake gaskets. Well, that one just
fell off.
That one just fell off. No, that was the one that had a problem.
Oh, okay.
There you go. So it's worth it to just go ahead and get the kit and do that, because that gasket's obviously useless.
Mm-hmm.
All the rest of them appear to at least be intact.
All right.
Side note on the rocker arms, you will have an intake and exhaust rocker arm. The intakes are about 4 inches shorter than the exhausts, so you want to keep those separate and in the order that you took them out.
Remember what he just said, guys, in the order he took them out. Or in your case, the order that you do take them out. See, these are the smaller ones. These are the smaller ones, and these are the larger ones. Where did these go, Ben? Did they go on the front?
Well, so that's the exhaust side, so it'll be the closest to the exterior of the vehicle.
Okay. All right.
Honestly, you couldn't put those in backwards, right? Because
Right.
the long ones wouldn't fit and the short ones wouldn't touch. So
Okay.
they will only go in one way. But as long as you know that there's a difference and to keep them separated, that's the important part.
All right.
So now we're ready for this animal to come out.
Good. I don't see where it was misfiring. I don't see where it was misfiring.
Definitely no obvious signs of.
Yeah, I didn't see anything.
Nothing obvious here, but it wasn't a big misfire. You know, it was just enough.
And that's all it takes.
So that's what I think of that thing.
Yep. There you go, guys. Throw it down in your yard. And we gotta get all that water out of there, don't we?
Yep.
Because if you don't get all the water out of there, what happens?
Well, you would have to break something. Something would have to get. Water is much more dense than air, so you can't compress it without something bending. Most of the time, it's going to be a rod. Connecting rods usually bend. I don't really know. I've never not done this. pistons look okay.
Once again, guys, make sure you get all the water out of the cylinders. All right, guys, he's already pulled the screws. Like he said, was it 8mm or 10mm screws?
8mm.
8mm on the intake. And he's pulled all the screws out. As you can see down through here, there's one right there all the way across both sides. And like I said earlier, he already pulled the plugs out. Or not the spark plugs, but these wire plugs. And now he's taking this intake off. Ratchet.
And of course it's going to start raining on us.
You can see where his hands are at, guys, how tight it is back in there, man. There's literally very little forgiveness back there. And I'm trying to get you guys as close as I can back in there.
Well, just know that there are there's 4 bolts holding this in. You can't see them. I couldn't point it out to you if I wanted to. You just have to feel for them. Try to find them.
If that rain keeps getting harder, we may have to walk in the garage for a minute and let it pass over.
Well, we can push it in a little bit. I was hoping to have some
The light's better out here, man.
It's way better. But yeah, this sitting here getting soaked is not...
I mean, I'm not afraid of water. I just... Well, we got the...
I was thinking about taking a shower anyways.
Yeah, well, I've already taken my shower. Oh, we got it loose.
Alright, and there is one... So you got 2 options when you take this off. You either disconnect the fuel line here, or honestly, it's easier for me to take the fuel rails out of the intake, set them to the side, and then pull the intake out from underneath them. It's easier for me. I've got the disconnect tool, but it's always I'm afraid of breaking that little connector thing in there, so I stick to the old way. Your preference. These have either got to be removed or disconnected from its main fuel line here. And there's a sensor on the back and a vacuum hose on the back that have to come out. And I'll show you those 2 things, but I want to surprise you. Oh, and I just got through talking about that. To take these fuel rails off, that's a 14mm, and that's also these bolts that hold the little cover on. So 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, and you're good. We may have to pause right here and see if we go inside.
And we're live.
All right, guys, here's the Felpro gasket. We should give them the part number. This is specific to the side, right? So this is left-hand side, 26284 PT. You can verify that here where it's got the same part number. Cylinders 1, 3, 5, and 7. Top side of gasket. I label it all for you so there's no guesswork. I like it.
Cool.
Felpro did not sponsor this. We will accept sponsorships. In fact, it was the opposite of that. We sponsored Felpro to do this.
Yeah.
Maybe someday they'll sponsor us.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so she's clipped on there. We love it.
You can see, guys, where it clips on right there, and down the bottom, and vice versa back in the back. there's clips on all those.
Here's our collector that we had to undo. 2 bolts, 15 millimeter.
Okay, that looks like a lot of fun.
Regular joy. And now we're ready to go. Well, I gotta clean up this
Head.
All in all, it's not that long, complicated of a process. There's a few bolts that are hard to get to. I love overhead valve engines. So much easier.
There's no timing.
No timing.
And again, guys, this is the 5.7 Hemi motor.
It's a Hemi. She's got a Hemi. Here's where you would replace this gasket. Obviously this one is brand new, so we're not going to replace it.
Right.
And that's all she wrote. Let's put her on.
There we go. There we go. You're clear back here. It's easier, guys, if you have 2 people, really, but I'm filming with one hand and the other hand I'm trying to help him out. So if I wasn't filming, I could have helped them more assistance, but we got it done.
Just a few little things always in the way. So torque or head bolts replacements are, I believe, required because they're called stretch bolts, which means after you torque them once, they've stretched to a different length. Right? Just think of a rubber band that doesn't unstretch. So we'll do that.
Oh, brand new.
through and put all these bolts down, and then we'll come back and show you the torque sequence.
All right, guys, so we're gonna go ahead and fasten these down, and he's gonna show you the torque sequence here in just a minute. All right, guys, we're gonna torque this head down.
Set everything at 30. I always start from the center and work my way out. So meaning I'll do the center two, the next two, the next two, the next two, the next two, just sequence it out. Now 70, same thing.
So he's repeating the same method, went to 70 pounds this time. First was 30, now he's at 70. He starts in the middle and works his way side by side to the outside.
It looks like this deep well is just a hair too short. So let's see if I got an extension. final.
Which is what? 100?
100 foot-pounds. May want to stretch before this last one gets a little tough.
This is what not to do at home, boys and girls watching this. Do not emulate Ben over here.
Or do, whatever. Whatever you feel like. Just get the job done.
A 100 pounds is tough.
Don't forget to breathe. Whoops.
Oops. You won't need to go to the gym after this.
But I will. Anyway. This is working some muscles at some angles you wouldn't get at the gym anyway.
That's what I said.
Right? Because who does this exercise at the gym? They don't have this one.
Voila.
Well, almost.
Uh-oh.
We got it. Now we go in and we torque the little tins at 30.
One drop, I don't know.
Probably the one I need.
Where'd it go? Oh, it's way over here.
Yep, it's exactly the one I need.
Yeah.
Don't know how that works out, but that's the way it goes. So I'll do the same thing here. I'll start in the center. And these are these little retaining bolts. They're on the head, so they're technically a head bolt, but
And start from the inside, go to the outside like you did before.
just whatever you do, don't torque these first.
You heard that, guys. Do not torque these first. The head bolts first.
Because what'll happen is, if you torque these first, when you put 100 foot-pounds of torque on here, it's going to suck this head down, and that bolt will be loose. Ask me how I know.
How do you know?
Aluminum changes everything, especially with these cast iron blocks and aluminum heads. It's always,
Once it gets hot, it expands.
I guess we will have to grow our channel into electric motors next,
Oh yeah.
because I think that's what's coming.
Yep. That was like 3D right there, man, when you turn that wrench. It's 3D dimensional.
So now I want to, while I've got it at this stage, that's when I try to do that collector, because this is the most room you'll get to do that. Everything else just gets in the way at this point, and that thing's hard to get to. And I want to put this back because I never can remember the belt pattern. I have to always look at it and hope it's still in the car. But luckily, when I took this off, I literally just slid the belt off of this pulley, so it's exactly where it should be, and all I got to do is put this back and slide the belt back on. And make sure I don't pinch any of these wires. Tool would be perfect here. So if you've never done a power steering pump, they leave you holes to get your little 13, I believe. So you got to rotate the head of it.
Well, that was nice of them.
Make sure that little pad's back up there, because that's what's protecting it.
Knocked it out.
Just when you think you got it. Air tool would be absolutely perfect here.
Oh man, that sucks. Can you pull up on that hose? Will that help or not? Get started?
Yes, so. Yeah, I think so.
All right.
Way longer to put the power steering pump.
Yeah, I was gonna say this has been the hardest part right here, not even the head.
But if we were running the air tool,
Yeah, it'd been zip, zip, done.
it would have been zipped, but we wouldn't have been able to see or hear anything on the videos, so
That's true.
got to go get one of those little electric ones. Battery powered.
Mm-hmm. Everything's going battery, electric.
Yeah, I mean, your air tank is all noisy and loud, and your neighbors hate you. And what's this guy doing up at 10 a.m.?
10 a.m. Shit, it's more like 6:37 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah. could sneak out here and nobody would ever know.
Mm-hmm. Is it going in?
Yeah, there's a long little. Trash cans.
On a Wednesday?
Big disposal.
Are you with S&M or are you with, no, you're with Republic, aren't you?
Yeah. Longest bolts ever.
There's no real torque on these power steering bolts, guys. It's just snug them up.
Yep. Just make it tight. Go on about your day. Alright, here we go. It fell off. Alright, so I put everything back where it was, kind of hold tension on it with my thumb here. Then I'll slide my little bar into its holder. Make sure all of them are on their little pulleys. It looks good. Don't pinch my electrical connector. And voila. Alright, now I won't be able to show you the two collector bolts because I'm going to have to get all the way up in there. But that's what's next.
Point that again.
Where the exhaust manifold connects to the
Oh, okay, gotcha.
down pipe.
All right.
Two bolts. They look just like this. They're 15 millimeter. And then another neighbor shows up. Hey, Joe. It's Tim's brother, Joe.
Not quite. We'll edit that. Did you hear that, Lily? All right, we're gonna turn off and come back. Guys, I just thought I'd take a little break here, give you some eye candy here. In the shop here, we got a Grom. I think we're gonna actually do a video on this Grom. We're gonna do what you would call a semi-build on this thing. We're not changing the exhaust. That's an aftermarket exhaust. But we're gonna change out some lights. And let me get over here so you can see the lights it's on right now. The motor was actually built. That's not factory. That was built. So you can see right here, he took the factory lights out and put some LEDs in here. I get it, but it just doesn't look good because it takes away the factory trim, all the plastic, and this is all visible now, and it just doesn't look good. And The previous owner did some switch here for the key. Don't look good. Got to take all that out and put it back to the factory specs. Anytime you hear the word Grom, you just gotta smile. These things are just a blast. Pure fun. Then the big boy, the YZF, it's the 250. This is a 2020. This thing will blind you. It's a monster, it's a beast. Two-stroke, right, Ben? Two-stroke. Here's a 125. This is Junior's bike. So this one's the 2020 250. That's an $8,000 bike. Wow. And this is the 125. This is 2017. This shop is becoming officially a Honda and a Yamaha. Did y'all hear Ben over there grunting? What has Ben tearing up over here? What's he breaking? He's dealing with that exhaust bolt.
These suck. 3 hands, 3 inches in diameter.
Folks, he is literally hanging inside the firewall of this engine bay. I couldn't get you a shot of where his hand's at if I wanted to, because he's way down in. He's way down in there. Well, actually, I did get you a shot of that. Jeez.
Being a circus, being a contortionist to get all this in here.
So my advice to you guys, try to do it from the bottom if you can. If you can't, then you're gonna be doing what Ben's doing. Crawling up inside the whole, the whole engine bay compartment. All right. Putting the rocker arms back in here now. And these are the pins that he was talking about. Have to go in the exact position because it won't let you make a mistake. It's going to take it, the large one with the large holes and the small ones with the small ones, or it won't go.
Show somebody what I'm doing here because I can't even see myself, but I'm making sure these.
So where those pins hook up to the rocker arm, is there a little spot on the bottom?
Yeah, I'll show you.
Okay.
They have to sink. Sometimes I have to cheat and use this little pick tool to pick it up.
So these pins, guys, are underneath the rocker arm, and there's a spot, which I'll show you here in a minute, where these pins that I just told you that he just slid into the head, the long ones and the short ones, and they got to go in the exact spot they're designed to go in, and then you got to put these rocker pins into the rocker arm, and you really can't see, he can't even see where they're attaching, but he just knows where they go. I'm gonna try to show you guys.
If this engine were out, it would be easy for me to show you. It would be easy to do this. And just don't have the.
I'm just gonna show you guys how the pins set. So, all right.
So this is sitting in the engine. This end goes there, and then this end connects to
the head.
Lifter, valve lifter.
Okay. So every one of these spots, there, right?
4 of them, 1 per cylinder.
Okay.
So this touches the valve and pushes the valve down to open it, and this is what actually does that mechanical function.
That's why you couldn't see it, guys, on the camera. So we just showed you now.
So that's exactly how that was set.
All right, fair enough. And he's got this one in. Maybe we should have done the bottom one first. I guess it doesn't matter.
It's just a tedious, time-consuming process. It's not hard. It's just gotta know what's happening here.
Once those pins slot into the rocker arm, then you can snug up the bolts. But if they're not lined in perfectly, those bolts will not, they will not snug up. And you don't want to tighten them down until you get everything
Exactly where it's supposed to be. So luckily the bottom one's a little easier because it kind of pushes the push rod into its position where it's supposed to be.
Right. You know, I'd rather work on this motor than the daggum 4.7.
Oh, any day.
The timing and everything.
Oh yeah.
This is a whole lot easier.
Well, it's overhead cam. It's just so adds another layer of complexity.
Having the right tools for this job, guys, is key, man. Like Ben's got the ratchet open head, so you don't need the room as a socket and a ratchet needs.
Yeah, it's much easier to.
Because in those tight spots back there, I mean, you can't operate those extensions and ratchets and sockets.
All right, so I tightened 2 of them down so everything will be forced to stay in place. I'm double checking, rechecking, and then checking again. Because once I really start tightening this down, some of these valves will be opening, so I'm going to be putting quite a bit of pressure on the valve, opening it up.
Now, you don't have to torque spec these, do you?
Yeah, they go to, I'm gonna have to double check that one. They do go to a spec, but the important part of these is to make sure that you got the push rods in. Because you can't visually just look at it and see if it's in or not. There's not enough room.
And those push rods are the pins I was referring to, making sure they line up to the rocker arm. And the only way you can really tell, like you just said, you can't see, you get a feel in there. So like right over here, you can see, guys, let's see, right there, how it lands right there on that top.
And you can see as I tighten it down, it should slide into place automatically. If not, I'll have to manually do it. Yep, just popped in.
Mm-hmm.
You do need patience.
Yes, a lot. All right, so he just put the valve cover on. I didn't shoot that footage because it's so self-explanatory. Just put your little 8mm or those 10s, they're 8 I believe, for your valve cover. And there's 2, 4, 5, there's 10. And then put your cold packs back in, which is what he just did.
And they're 10s.
And they're 10s. Snug them up. And then we're gonna put the intake on, which goes right here. And then hook everything up and that's done. This job, this build on this head gasket job anyway is done.
Comes to an end. Like all things do.
So guys, you took a journey with us, you walked through the whole process with us. And make sure you guys like and subscribe to us. If you like the content, make a comment to the video, like and subscribe to us. And you guys will make this possible for us to shoot more builds. So
we need some cooler cars.
yeah, we need some cooler cars. I think we've done enough on the Jeeps.
Yeah, we'll move on from Jeeps. We'll find some
So if you guys got an idea, why don't you guys post something on here? Let us know what you think. What kind of build would you like to see? Keep it reasonable, of course, nothing exotic. You know, we're just a small time building our way there, but we're not goon squads. Move these wires out of the way. Move this out of the way or leave it? Leave it. See where you're trying to go with this.
Put this little connector back on.
Oh, in the very back, yeah.
Can't see it.
You can't see it or reach it if you put this intake back in there. Do it before you get it snugged down.
We can go ahead and set your fuel rail.
Let me see if I can help him with that.
Put the bolts back in over there too, so you won't be able to.
Well, I don't know what. I better. Just trying to do it with one hand. And... oh yeah, that helped.
There we go. Injectors go in their little home
Yeah.
there. This goes on, clamp it down. Now we should be able to slide her right on back. Not a whole lot of extra really there.
There you go. Man, that landed perfect on this side.
Perfect. There's your little 8mm that have to go back. Get that lined up. And there she is. Alright, I gotta get a speed tool. Just takes forever.
Okay, guys. So everything is pretty much done. He's going to snug up the 8s. The injectors are ported, rails are in, intake is snugging down, and then you're going to have the air box right here, connects over here, which is over here, and some PVC. Actually, no, that's EGR lines, I believe, and your air box right here. And then basically clean up your tools and you're done. So there you have it. Once again, make sure you like, subscribe to us, guys. See you next time.